Welcome. It is the Ski Bum Podcast. Finally, back together. It is your pals, Mario and Brian. Mario, what's up?
Feeling good. This is an interesting time for a podcast. I'm liking it. I wish this was our full-time job because it's the morning time and I'm refreshed, relaxed, ready to go. So it's good.
It's funny the different iterations of us that you get depending on when we do record a podcast, because sometimes there's a Friday night at 9 o'clock episode when things get a little bit silly. You know, there's the 5 o'clock on a Monday podcast, which is, very different vibe than that. And this time you're getting a Saturday morning vibe from us. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, caffeinated, feeling good. We actually, for our main topic, it's already in the can. We did a great interview with our friends Tricia and Phil Pugliese from skitalk.com. You probably know them. Awesome. Some of the best reviews you're ever going to find on ski gear.
Real reviews for real people.
That's a perfect tagline. We met them back at Snowbound. So you got to drink when we talk about Snowbound, of course. We met them at Snowbound in Boston. They were extremely friendly, welcoming. They have an awesome community too. If you haven't checked it out, skitalk.com. And had a great chat with them about all different things. So hope you guys stick around for that. Thank you so much for listening. You can find all of our information at skibumpodcast.com. Go to the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Untapped, Ski Bum Podcast. Send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. Don't you want to support all this love, all this ski info that we're bringing you guys? You can do that. Patreon.com/skibumpodcast. You can help us out. You can be a patron. Got a couple different levels. Help support us. Help us grow. Make this show better. Heck, if you hit the top of the line one, the $100 a month one, maybe you can be a producer.
Yeah.
We're still working on the rewards. We're going to have a big overhaul of the site over the summer, and we're going to kind of build things out, make things a little more, I don't know. What's the word? Exotic, extreme, friendly, badass, awesome, fun, all those things. So thank you. So support us if you would. We would love that.
We love some support.
YouTube, we're on there too. We're posting the podcasts on YouTube. Subscribe on your favorite podcasting apps. Mario, let's kick this off. The good old Saturday morning.
It's time for Opry Today.
I actually am starting off with my black coffee, but what I've added to it is a little Kirkland Signature Irish Country Cream, which is the ghetto version of Bailey's.
I think, I don't think ghetto is the correct term anymore.
It's actually better than Bailey's.
When you go in Kirkland, it's almost like the underground speakeasy version. You got to be part of the club. You can't just walk into Costco. You got to be a member.
I actually like that better than Bailey's. I think it's not as sweet. I don't know what it is. It's probably the same exact thing, and I'm an idiot. But
just different label.
To me, it tastes better. Comes in a nice plastic bottle. Good price point, and it's a fan favorite in the mornings. It's either that or a mimosa. And I haven't been drinking as much. I was telling Brian about this. Partially for health reasons. Diabetes creeps up for all of us. Partially for the way it makes me feel the next day. The next day with a lot of alcohol, I get a little, So
Nobody likes that feeling.
Yeah. So I've been making a weed mimosa with the weed, the squeeze, put that in there, put seltzer and orange juice instead of champagne. So you get that, you get a nice little buzz going, go hang out at the pool or the beach or the mountain and just chill out. It's a nice slow roll to the morning. Just saying.
I'm not mad at that at all.
There might allegedly be some weed in here too. I call it the dance with the devil.
Dance with the devil.
Riding the lightning, the thunderbolt.
I like it.
Got a little bit of both alcohol and weed in there.
I like it.
Never know what you're gonna get. How about you, Brian?
So me, hey, I'm team coffee also. And look at my sweet new cup that I have.
Nice.
Look, it's got the new logo, which really is just the same logo, but instead of highfalutin ski bums. Oh, this is the recently discontinued Nordic purple, which I must tell you is probably my favorite shade of purple that exists, and purple is my favorite color.
It's like a plumish color, dark plum.
When I saw that Yeti was discontinuing and reducing the prices on their Nordic purple drinkware, I actually bought 3 different sizes of Nordic purple Yeti drinkware. And
you think of the value proposition, right? Those things last forever.
They last forever. and you're not throwing them out, which is great. And glass, like I break glass all the time because I'm a Butterfinger's little 6-year-old, pretty much the way I handle glasses. So I got this. I love it. And what's cool is the cost to customize was almost this. Like the discount they gave you because they're discontinuing it was almost like if you bought it at regular price and you got like free customization. So I'll say the other one that I got later in a later episode. It's more of like a summer one because I got the one with the handle, the 24-ounce one with the handle. That's going to be great for like at the pool, having some beers, whatever.
So
I got my coffee.
We have been looking at the handles that you could attach on those because that's a tough. You got the 20-ounce tumbler, right? The Rambler.
That's
right?
this one. This is the 20-ounce Rambler. Yeah.
20-ounce Rambler. So I have one ski bum one, and I have another one that I got from somewhere, and they're just a little like, especially if your hands are wet or you got gloves on, like they could slip out a little bit.
Especially if you're using like doing like the butter coffee, you get a little butter on the side.
Get a little something on there.
Yeah.
So they have like all sorts of things. Like they have the round things, the sleeves that you could put on that are like rubber, and it's nice because you can help grip it. But they actually have these attachments, like they're like a handle that attaches to it. I'm like, I'm gonna buy one of those.
There you go.
I just bought new tops and colored. What do they call the
whoa.
The magnetic piece? Yeah, that little magnetic thing. The
nub.
Yeah, the Magna, whatever the thing they recalled
MagnaSafe or Magna, yeah.
Yeah, that thing. So I got colored ones so that you could tell whose is whose. Because the problem is they're, when you see the same looking one next to each other, like I don't know which one is mine. Now I know because I got the one with the little blue little magnet thing or
blue
magnet thing.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I got a couple of these purple ones. I'm digging them.
Awesome.
The new tops are cool too. I have like a flop top that's supposed to be like from Amazon. It's not supposed to spill. It still spills, but whatever. It's better than these Magna ones. But got these, love them. Coffee. I'm drinking coffee too. And Kirkland Connection.
Ooh.
From Costco. This is the Ruta Maya organic medium roast coffee.
Ooh, organic.
It's organic.
Big
and the reason why I got this, the biggest reason is that it's medium roast. Because I don't like a dark roast or French roast. It just tastes burnt. It's like someone screwed up
dark
the
roast
coffee.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like dark roasts. I'll be honest though. If it's the holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Starbucks has their wacky like Thanksgiving roast or Christmas roast, I'm a sucker for that. I have to get it. I'm like, whatever. You know what? Because I can't get it any other time.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm adding something to it, like creamy, like some cream or some Irish cream or whatever in there, I'll do the dark roast once in a while. Yeah. But now that I switched to black,
you can't drink black. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I switched to black coffee, it's got to be medium roast or light roast. That's it.
Yeah. I just got mine. I got a splash of heavy cream in here. I don't even deal with the half and half anymore. I go right to the heavy cream. Right. Just a little bit to let you know it's there. Yeah. I don't like when it gets like some people, when you go to a coffee shop, one of the most infuriating things to me is you watch the person like dump out half the coffee into the garbage. You're pouring hot liquid into a plastic garbage bag.
Well, the thing that pisses me off is I've worked in restaurants, fast food, whatever. And when you have to change that garbage bag, any liquid in there just gets all over the place. And now you got to fucking mop everything. So
dude,
kind of a dick move because you're screwing the person that now has to take that out and deal with the fact that you're an idiot pouring water into a garbage can.
You know what's even worse? At a restaurant, I used to do like a kitchen prep, and we used to do just sheets of bacon, like big old cake pans full of bacon.
That's good.
And some people, because we put parchment paper down, put the bacon on, cook it in the oven like 75% of the way, get it ready. So you just throw it on the grill, finish it off. People would take the bacon greasy parchment paper and just dump it into the garbage can. And you're like, bro, there's also like old tuna fish in there and vegetable remnants and whatever the hell was in the fridge. And now it's all been just unleashed, lavafied by hot bacon grease. So you lift up the bag and you're just like, well, today's going to suck.
Yeah.
You got to get that out of the garbage somehow. So
I hate it. I see it and it pisses me off because I'm like, it's inconsiderate. You're like, I'm screwing somebody that's going to have to deal with this garbage now that
it's also so wasteful. So you see the person dump out half their coffee into the garbage. And then like, I'm going to put in a gallon of cream and 6 packets of Splenda. I'm healthy drinking my coffee and I love the environment. I have my Prius. It's like,
all those places are good at. If you say to them, leave room for cream, they leave room for cream, and then you just put it in.
They usually leave too much room.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, you could talk to them, actually have a conversation, and say, "Hey, can you just leave a little bit or a lot for room for me to put the other stuff in there?"
Yeah, that's why I just like making it at home. I can do it right, and I have a purple mug to floss with. So
That's nice.
I like this coffee at Costco.
I just sent you the mag sliders. So Yeti has them on their thing. They got different sets of like 3. So it's 3 color sliders, and then you can get different. But it's great to keep track of your Yeti. You're like,
oh, nice.
That's my Yeti. Don't fuck around.
Well, see, here's the thing. Usually I use the one with the flip that I got, like the aftermarket flip lid. Okay. And because I usually use that layered turmeric creamer, it's basically stained yellow. So we know which one's Brian because it's stained yellow from turmeric.
You still doing the turmeric stuff?
I do, yeah. That's my default.
I like that once in a while, but I was like, I didn't like it enough to buy continually.
I got a subscription, man. It comes every 3 months. I get 3 bags. So
yeah.
That's how
I got that Rise, the mushroom coffee.
Yeah.
And I tried it and it was all right, but it's like a hot cup of mushroom soup. And like,
which, hey, if you want a hot cup of mushroom soup is great, but when you want coffee,
it's good if you want something hot in the morning and something healthy for you. Great, but if you want actual coffee with the caffeine, that's where you're gonna fall down.
Right. So here's the thing about this Rutamaya coffee. So I don't know the price of it these days. I'm guessing it's maybe like $20 for 2 pounds. What's that?
$8 million an ounce, and it comes from a cat's ass.
Well, it's like $20. It's like 20 some, maybe $20 for 2 pounds of coffee, which isn't terrible.
That's not bad.
Crazy thing is, if you go on to just Google it, Amazon, $28, $33.
Look at that.
What are people doing? They're going to Costco, they're buying them up, they're reselling them on Amazon. So don't tell me you can't make money, because you can do the same damn thing.
You hustle. You got to hustle. Rise and grind.
Rise and grind. That's right.
Literally.
Well, first you got to grind, make your coffee, then you rise, then you grind again. So different grinds.
You can roast your own coffee beans too. That's not a. It's a pretty. You can
also grow your own coffee beans too.
That's right.
Right. Who can stop you? Yeah.
Nobody's stopping you.
Coffee. We're amped up. We're jacked up. We're excited for this podcast. Mario.
Let's go to ski news.
All right. Got a lot of good ski news, and top of everybody's headline. I was telling Brian, I didn't realize how big of a deal this was until I was flipping through the channels on Saturday afternoon last week, and I see Gwyneth Paltrow on her ski case where there was a collision. So it was ruled that she was not at fault in the ski crash that happened in 2016. So this has been going on since 2016.
This is how fast and effective the justice system is in America.
And this isn't the appeal. This is the initial case. Like, holy crap. So Terry Sanderson filed a $300,000 lawsuit against Gwyneth Paltrow, alleging her reckless skiing caused her to run into him from behind, on February 26, 2016, in Utah's Deer Valley Resort. The collision left Sanderson with 4 broken ribs, a concussion, and lasting brain damage that affected his daily life and personal relationships, he said. So, I guess he couldn't get up is what he's trying to say. The jury deliberated in the afternoon and found, in fact, at fault, not Paltrow. So Paltrow countersued for $1 as well as her legal fees, insisting she did not run into Sanderson. It was very dramatic. There was a lot of acting. She's a very good actor from what you can see.
She's Iron Man's wife, apparently. Like, that's real.
There's like clips, like you could go out there and there's a ton of great clips you could get.
I mean, it's not as good as the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cut rate version of that.
The Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was juicy. There was a lot of shit that got, revealed to the public. You're like, what happened? Like
fecal delivery.
Yeah, like a lot of crazy shit.
But now we have to remember, these people are professional liars. Like, that's their job. They pretend to be stuff. So they could very easily pretend to be sad and victims and not the fault. And
I love this. Paltrow told the court that she testified she initially believed she was being assaulted when a man came up behind her, put his skis between hers, and groaned.
That's so
Did this happen
weird.
in slow motion?
That's so.
Was it a crash or was it kind of a bump? Oh, it fell over.
What's up, girl?
Sup, girl?
I
I
don't
heard
see
sup,
Brad
girl.
here. I don't see Brad or Coldplay here.
I heard sup, girl, and then they were kind of sliding back in there. And it's just funny. Like some of the stuff is just it's precious.
I don't
And then
see nothing wrong with a little ski and grind. You got to think Gwyneth Paltrow is not gonna. She's not gonna get like the Better Call Saul lawyer here. Like she has a legal team. These
oh, she
people
got
are
a
gonna,
team.
and they're gonna dig through your personal life, everybody you're connected to, and that's what they did. Part of it was they, I guess they reached out to the daughters of this guy Sanderson,
Yeah.
and he had all kinds of like estranged relationships with his kids. So
But then they heard,
before the
oh, you
incident,
ran into Gwyneth Paltrow. They were like, I got some advice for you, Dad. You know, you can make a lot of money.
well, no, it's kind of the opposite. I think he was allegedly in cahoots with that guy who saw it from like 40 feet behind. There was the guy, Craig Ramone. That was his witness that he had.
Oh,
He
wow.
apparently had vision problems to begin with, and then said from like 35 feet from behind that he could see what was happening. Could you imagine? Like when you think about skiing, and if you're skiing, think about how far 35 feet is. I mean, what's
Yeah.
that like? Think about like basketball, like foul line to the basket.
Dude, read the
times
side
2.5.
chart. You can't see shit from 35 feet. How about that? That's all they got to prove.
The guy's 40 feet away and colorblind.
How many fingers am I holding up? See, there you go. Your Honor.
Like, and you're not focusing on what's in front of you at all. Like you're skiing. You're
Right.
focusing on what someone else is doing 40 feet away.
You're just watching this person slowly grind up in behind Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. And they're claiming, I guess, that
Drone.
she just left the scene. But
Yeah.
apparently, like she was there for like 4 minutes and helped
Well,
with ski
There was
patrol.
something
and-
I saw some bite, and I may be butchering what it actually means, but it was something she was saying about, well, I have people that take care of things, because she said something like, I'll just call so and so and they'll take care of this. And it was like kind of one of those things that I got a handler.
wolf.
And I think she had to explain, like, I'm in Hollywood. I have people that take care of things for me. I'm like, yeah, you have a Ray Donovan. That's going to make this shit go away.
Yeah. Mr. Wolf.
That's right. If she
Yeah.
did have a Ray Donovan or Mr. Wolf, I think this guy would have disappeared. The court would have never even seen the trial.
Yeah.
Just
Hey,
saying.
how about we go and we go for a quick drink after this? How about
That's
that?
right. That's right. You don't want to pursue this, do you?
Why are we going into the snow shack shed?
That's right.
And
Just
it's right around the corner from here. We'll take care of this. No problem.
take him out back, give him the goon hand, and
Yeah.
make it go away.
Yeah, that guy, the colorblind guy, said they testified that Paltrow left after about 4 minutes without identifying herself or waiting to see whether Sanderson was all right.
So what is the protocol? You run into somebody, do you exchange numbers now? Insurance? Like what?
Oh,
Like,
dude, you know what's crazy? Like how many? I mean, I know Park City, Deer Valley, especially, but a lot of big resort towns, you see so many of those like ambulance chaser lawyer signs. I was up
Yeah.
at Bel Air a few weeks ago. I saw a big old the shuttle bus had lawyer and lawyer LLC. Like if you were injured, it's like
man, that's
it's
the doom and gloom waiting for the sport and the enjoyment of it. But
yeah.
because I wonder now, like, right, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you check that somebody's okay. It could be between you and them. They might say, you never checked on me, and they left. But what is the protocol? Are you supposed to check that they're okay? You're supposed to be like, you okay? And then ski away? You're supposed to be like, F you, what are you doing? And then ski away? Like, I don't know what the protocol is. We trade
need
insurance info, have to get a police report. Like, what's going on?
we need like a ski lawyer to kind of tell us what we're supposed to do in this situation. Would Steve, as a ski patroller, know?
He might. I'm going to reach out to him, ask him.
We got to get
what
Steve
the
on
hell.
because I want to hear about his interesting ski patrol season that he had.
Dude, he actually saw somebody die this year.
I know.
They had a
That's-
heart attack. It's
In front of like
pretty
wasn't it like in front of his kid and father?
I don't know. It was very sad. He was just like, all of a sudden the person, I guess they must have had some, prior health condition, because it was a heart issue. So I can imagine that happens, not that rare. It's probably, a little more common than you want to think. But if you're not in great shape, you go out, you start pushing it, and it's messed up though. I'm like, I don't know if they died right there or if he died as they were trying to save him or after, but it's
I
just
think
sad.
he said it was like a family too, like a whole group. So this guy was like in his like late 40s and was with his son and his father.
Damn.
Which I mean, ugh. Absolutely horrible. And then he also, besides that, he sent us that one picture of the guy who got like a concussion or knocked out trying to jump that river.
Oh yeah.
Which it's like the most Jersey thing possible. Like snowboarder tries
So
jumping this
stupid.
river and like smashes into the side of the bank and like knocks himself out.
But like you couldn't like try to do, like, it was weird. Like you had to go out of your way to like basically plow your head into the ground.
Well, it's like, hey, I'm gonna jump here. The river bank is here. It's like you have to sort of go up. And there's no sort of rockets or jump or like ledge. It's like I'm just gonna go straight and somehow I'm gonna get up and over.
But even to emulate that without without skis or a board, right? You'd basically have to say, okay, I'm just going to go headfirst into the ground right now. Like that's literally what they did. It's like, holy crap! Of course you're going to get a concussion.
Yeah. So
Lucky you
maybe
didn't crack your head open.
So I would think a ski patroller would probably have some pretty decent insight as what one should do if one gets into this sort of situation.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I don't think there's any official protocol. So if you're a D-bag and you crash into somebody, say, F you, whatever, and you leave, I don't know. Is everything covered by your waiver release on the mountain with the ticket?
Well, I think the waiver release is just to protect the mountain, not to protect other skiers who may get into an incident.
Like negligent skiing or something like that. And then it goes to court. And
well, remember that story from a few months ago, that incident in Colorado where that snowboarder crashed into that ski instructor and he died.
Yeah. Didn't they go off a jump, like a blind jump, and they crashed into their head or something?
Well, he crashed into them, but then he bolted. And then I guess the guy who was skiing with the skier who died saw him and identified him, and they caught him down the road. And I think he got like $1,000 fine or something.
Wow.
I mean, it was
It's time to try your Super G skills.
The guy literally got away with murder. And
wow.
I know people were really upset about that, but I don't
what can you do, right? It literally is an accident. Even if somebody's negligent, I don't necessarily think anybody's going to kill anybody. So you could claim negligence, but it's not like we're going out to kill him. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's a good hitman thing. Go out on a ski slope.
Let's not put that in people's heads. Listen, there's enough stupid people, enough psychopaths out there. Let's not give them any more ideas.
I go out there, I kill somebody skiing, and boom, it looks like an accident.
Like a ski assassin.
A ski assassin.
Yeah, it's going to Deer Valley, taking people out.
That's where it would happen too.
That's where it would happen.
So-and-so's trust fund is really, holding up my inheritance. So why don't you take this guy out?
That's terrible.
So if anybody's listening and has that idea, I did not give it to you. Let's put it that way.
Well, speaking of Deer Valley, if you haven't heard, they're going to be creating another resort there. Pretty much, I guess it would be south of Deer Valley in that same mountain ridge over there in the Park City area. So Deer Valley is in talks to operate what's going to be called Mayflower Mountain Resort terrain. Snowboarding ban would still apply.
Look at that.
So for those who are not in the know, Deer Valley is one of the, 3 resorts in the U.S. that does not allow snowboarding? It's Park City, or I'm sorry, it's Deer Valley, Alta, and Mad River Glen. Right? Those are the 3?
Those are the 3.
Those are the big 3. No snowboarding allowed.
Incredible.
So this new Mayflower resort that's been developing in Wasatch County could have Deer Valley as the operator of the terrain, a scenario that envisions a major expansion of Deer Valley slopes. The topic was mentioned last week during a panel discussion about the ski industry organized by Leadership Park City and held at the Santee Auditorium in the Park City Library. Mayflower Mountain Resort is an Extel Development Company project that is underway in conjunction with the State Military Installation Development Authority. There will be discounted hotel rooms reserved for the military as part of the overall project. Pretty cool.
Mountain.
Yeah. Todd Bennett, the president and chief operating officer at Deer Valley, briefly addressed the topic as part of his remarks during the forum. He told the crowd there is an ongoing dialogue between Deer Valley and Mayflower Mountain Resort about the operations of the terrain. If the Mayflower Mountain Resort slopes are folded into the Deer Valley terrain map, Bennett said, Deer Valley's ski-only experience would apply there.
Wow.
The comment referring to the snowboarding prohibition drew applause from the crowd.
I like that Military Installation Development Authority. It sounds badass. Like
that does sound really badass. Yeah.
we do some secret stuff out there. Like you may get, we have the howitzers mounted. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, right. Feel pretty
crazy
safe.
stuff going
Pretty
on.
safe skiing there. So if the agreement is reached, an expansion of the Deer Valley terrain would be significant and follow years after the additions of the Empire Canyon and Deer Crest acreage, which effectively stretched Deer Valley from a point close to the banks of the Jordanelle Reservoir to the highest elevations of Empire Canyon.
Hmm.
The timeline for the talks between Deer Valley and Mayflower Mountain Resort was not provided on Monday. Kind of the perfect way of applying the ski industry to America right now. There's the othering, like if you're a skier, you're like, ooh, those snowboarders, they're bad, they're evil, we don't want them on their mountains.
Yeah.
And as a skier, I'll be honest, the less snowboarders that seem to be around, the better things are.
You know what? I don't mind this because you know what? Terrain parks are really designed for snowboarders, mainly. But hey, nobody complains about that, right?
I mean, I have plenty of friends who are snowboarders and are super cool and respectful and awesome at what they do. That said, this is purely anecdotal evidence. A lot of the times when you see dumb things happening on the mountain, it's a border.
Well,
Not
it's
saying
also
always pure anecdotal evidence. I see a lot of dumb skiers too, but
yeah. Well, it's also about the terrain. What happens to the terrain with snowboarders on it versus not snowboarders, right? There's a lot of observation that there's a lot of scraping going on when boards are on it, so it just changes the mountain a little bit. So
it's like, oh hey, I'm going to plow all this snow off the mountain for you.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I mean, I get it. I don't think it's a bad thing because there are so many resorts now. It really doesn't matter. If there were a few resorts offering entry to boarders, I'd kind of probably be on the board side saying, look, you can't be that, But this is a handful out of thousands of ski resorts that allow snowboarders. So you know what? If you want to have your unique little thing, I'm not allowed to go to the what's the Yellowstone Club. So why should a boarder be allowed to go there?
A little bit
It's
different.
the same difference.
A little different circumstances.
It's the same.
That's because you're poor. That's why you can't go to the Yellowstone Club. You're poor.
See, they're keeping me out by economic inequality.
And you know what? Theoretically, based on my personality, if you look at all the things that I support, I'm usually like the fan of the underdog, kind of the rebel, the rabble rouser. I should be a snowboarder. At heart, I am a snowboarder. But
what does our Hermitage Club do? Borders or no borders?
I think they're allowed there. Hey, as long as you can pay that 50 grand to go ski haystack, they're like, yeah, whatever. Dude, bring a monoski. We actually saw a monoskier at Killington.
Oh, see, that's a ski. Now you could have a monoski
that
converts to a board.
Oh, can you ski? Can you monoski at Deer Valley?
Yeah, it would be a good. It's a ski. Now, if you had something where you could get on and get up to the top of the mountain, and then switch your bindings to go into full board mode, now you're on there boarding.
Dude, if you have a monoski, how do you how do you traverse?
You don't.
You just kind of use your arms. Like, is it all arms? Kind of like just like almost like you're on a.
It's the same as board. You probably have to pop out and use one foot, or take them both off and walk. Right.
Well, at least you have the poles with the monoski, so you actually could just do all. You have like jacked shoulders of a year of monoskiing, just traversing, just big jacked shoulders and back.
Jacked shoulders.
But yeah, we saw we saw a guy with a monoski, and we were sitting next to someone from the trip, and they're like, the monoski, like all the worst parts of skiing and all the worst parts of snowboarding combined into one. Which really hits the nail on the head. Let's be honest.
How about a free ride monoski? Like they have the free ride boards with no bindings.
Extra wide.
Well, no, they don't have bindings. So you just, what do they call them? The like a freestyle board or a free board.
Oh, the ones that just you kind of stand on, right? That's almost like a surfboard, pretty much.
Like a surfboard. You get a monoski like that, or you use one of those in your monoski.
Or like a powder monoski. Like how big is that? Like a sled.
How about snow blades that have no bindings?
There you go.
I'm sure somebody's tried it. I'd love to see.
I'm sure someone has.
I want to see the outtakes, the research outtakes.
Oof. Yeah. All right, we got one final story here in the good old ski news, and this came up this past week.
Yeah.
New ski resort is for sale. Get your pocketbooks out, checkbooks, your Bitcoin.
Play your Powerball.
Powder King Mountain Resort is for sale. So got loads of money and looking for a badass little investment opportunity? Who's not looking for yield these days? Everyone is. consider buying this sweet thing in northern BC for the tidy sum of $8.25 million. Now, I think this is Canadian dollars.
Oh, so it's even cheaper.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's in Canada, so I would assume the listing is out of Vancouver. That it's got to be Canadian dollars. Which, I mean, what are we talking then? Like 6 million? Maybe
Looking
two?
up right now.
$2 million? I don't know. What's the exchange rate? $1.35 Canadian. Boom. So you're getting like a 35% discount. Right? Is my math off?
Hey.
8.25 divided by 1.35. It's like $6 million. That's already a much bigger discount we're talking right now.
It is.
I just did it. It's done. 6 million US.
6.3.
There's room to negotiate.
That's
negotiate.
Get that no more than 6. No more than 6.
Let's call it 6. Let's play with that number. It's a nice, easy round number.
You know, I think Jeremy Renner could have afforded this.
Oh, Jeremy
Instead
Renner
of just the piston bullet, he could have bought a whole mountain.
Yeah. So it's listed right now by Colliers out of Vancouver, who described the property as a fully integrated, all-season, master-planned resort community with 900 acres of skiable terrain, 37 runs, 3 lifts, and a variety of housing for guests and staff.
Dude, for $8 million, let's say $6 million, I hit the Powerball tomorrow or tonight.
You've talked about hitting the Powerball for like 10 years now, and you have not hit said Powerball.
I'm going to keep talking about it till I hit the Powerball or the Mega Millions. I hit that thing. We're naming this mountain Ski Bum Podcast Mountain.
I love it. So it's in McKenzie, British Columbia. Now, I want you to look on a map and put in McKenzie, British Columbia. Because, friends, that is way up there. Like, way, way, way up there. It's like barely British Columbia still. You're almost in, it's like the Northwest province, or actually it's probably about
Northwest Territory.
You're not far from the Yukon. Let's just put it that way. If you're a hockey fan and you know where Edmonton is, let's just say this city is northwest of Edmonton. That's how far up it is. Like, it's way up there.
Yeah, Edmonton is north in the middle of nowhere. This is in the middle of nowhere.
This is way more norther and wester in the middle of nowhereer.
But this is close to the U.S. territory, not too far.
You're close. Let's just say you're closer to Alaska than you are to Washington State.
Yeah, like that.
That's how far north it is.
That little piece of Alaska that goes down that we own, or the Northwest Territory that we own, goes
like
down.
Prince of Wales Island, like that southern part. Ketchikan, yeah.
Yeah.
Ketchikan is like almost due west.
That's not bad, see?
Yeah. So you are up there.
You are really up there. Holy crap.
What's cool
anything
is,
north of Edmonton.
Yeah. What's cool about this, though, property facts and highlights. It's got a 50-room hostel-style hotel, which, hey, we can always convert it into like 10 baller rooms, or like maybe one wing will keep as hostel, one wing will keep as like baller lounge, suite, Diddy style. Dining room and lodge with licensed pub, day use cafeteria style restaurant, development agreement and master plan that allows for significant expansion and acquisition of Crown land. I don't know what Crown land is, but I want it.
Is that the Queen's land?
I guess. Take her over. Sorry, Queen.
Buy it from the Crown? I don't know. I have no idea.
How about we annex it as Americans? Right?
Oh, boom. Pretoria. We could have our own.
What's Trudeau going to do? Send in his woke army to stop us? Ha!
Oh, we'll call it Skitoria. We'll load it up with a Skitoria.
Yeah.
The new province of Skitoria.
Service shop and accessory buildings, on-site staff accommodations, utilities, infrastructure, including hydropower, natural gas, and expandable on-site septic.
So let's see. If we buy this and maybe try to buy a little bit more land around, if we establish a town with a certain amount of people, do we get voting rights, and can we then secede from Canada and become our own country? And then we have Skitoria.
Basically, that's the premise of that Wild Wild Country, isn't it? When that guru guy took over that town in Oregon.
Yep.
Started like a sex cult. Yeah.
We can make it happen.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing I'm trying to wrap my head around. So Okay, it says Powder King is an all-season mountain resort that offers outstanding skiing in the winter and a wide variety of seasonal recreational opportunities between the mountain and its sister resort, the Azuzeta Lake Resort. Oh, which is also part of the offering. So not only do you get the ski mountain, you get the lake that's like a couple miles away.
I am losing money by not buying this place because
That's what I'm saying.
that lake means fishing, boating, a whole bunch of stuff in the summer. 4 seasons of fun and shenanigans.
So 37 ski runs, 3 lifts, 40 feet of annual snowfall. I mean, that's super legit. So you also get that Azuzeta Lake Resort, which only resort on the 340-acre Azuzeta Lake, 5 duplex cabins plus 2 A-frame cabins, 4 extended stay cabins with full kitchens, 25 campsites, gas station, convenience store,
Damn.
Cafe 97, which serves homemade comfort food 7 days a week year-round, Sandy Beach, boat launch and dock, 6 kilometers from Powder King.
Damn, dude.
Dude, how is this for sale? How has someone not snatched this up? Oh, why?
Well,
because it's almost in the Yukon?
In the middle of nowhere, but still,
There's not a single woman around for miles?
Dude, if I had money, that would be my evil heir. Like, you're talking about having your castle up there. I'm seceding. So I'm working out. I'm actually writing some notes of how to secede from Canada to make
Google how
Skitoria
to
happen.
secede.
I want Skitoria. I want blackface Trudeau the fuck out of my area and just
Justin
shoot.
Trudeau is racist. We're starting a revolution at Powder King.
Can you imagine this massive revolution starts at Powder King, which we now secede and call ourselves Skitoria? We could have a
History
whole thing
books
going.
will look favorably upon us, I assure you.
And then we come out and say we would like to join the United States.
No, we're going to become our own sovereign nation.
Boom.
We're going to take over all of northern British Columbia. We talk a lot
Can
about
we
taking
join
over
NATO?
countries on this podcast lately. Like, Andorra could be like our sister country. Like, we'll
No, we joined NATO. Like,
join
you
NATO.
can't-
Yeah,
You can't do anything as Canada. We're part of NATO.
Yep.
We got NATO application. We got like embassies all over. We can get a lot. We can get a lot of. Think about that. You have your own country. We could have embassies. We got a lot of write-offs. We can have diplomatic immunity. We could do
Diplomatic immunity. There you go. It's like
Dude,
when the Saudis like run people over and kill them. Like,
anything.
diplomatic
Untouchable.
immunity.
We ski somebody over. Diplomatic immunity. Sorry.
They'll just see us with like Lamborghinis with ski tracks, like driving around. Like, hey, immunity.
It could be the Dubai of the northern hemisphere. Of,
Oh yeah, we need some some oil barons to help sponsor us in our venture.
Get like McLaren snowcats and Lamborghini shuttles. Yeah, you got the shuttles picking you up from the parking lot. What is it? It's a Lamborghini. It's a
This
Lambo.
is like the Dumb and Dumber
Excuse me.
financial planning that we're doing to make this happen. Like if
Oh, yeah.
Lloyd and Harry in the original Dumb and Dumber were buying a ski resort, it's pretty much their ideas that we're harnessing through us.
Think about it this way: you spend $6 million on the resort and like $12 million on the snowcats that are Lamborghinis to run.
Those
the
are
resort.
IOUs.
Those are
6.25 million.
That's just as
I
good as money.
that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's just as good as money right there.
I mean, I believe in us.
That would be awesome, dude. If I hit the lottery, this is exactly what I'm going to do.
I want to
I'm
make this
flying
happen.
right out there and start negotiations ASAP.
We got to get our people talking to their people.
Well, I'm going out there and just doing don't sell this to anybody. Just hold it for me. Just hold
Well,
it. I got to
aren't
claim
you-
my winnings.
Aren't you technically like a Canadian citizen? Can't you get like a dual citizenship now?
The wife is. I'd have to apply for it. She'd have to sponsor me.
Oh,
Or
boy.
I could just sneak in the back of a car like I always do.
There you
Boom.
go. Can we like use her as like create a shell company to buy it through her?
Yes, I believe so.
She's Canadian, shell company in Canada, buy it.
If this wasn't publicly on the web, it would be a genius idea.
This is all alleged conversation here, Your Honor.
Allegedly.
Alleged.
Got to set up an account in the Caymans, something through Switzerland. Like, I don't know how it works, but we got to do some of that shit.
Just a thought experiment. We're still allowed to have ideas. That's not illegal.
We need a Swiss bank account.
It's a Bitcoin. We can get a little Bitcoin thing set up.
Dude, if we have that much money, we put money into a Swiss bank, right? They are going to help us figure out how to secede from Canada.
Well, they're connected to Dubai, so the oil barons will help too. So yeah, we got them on speed dial. We'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Stormy's in.
He's in. He
Yeah.
loves it.
Well, we're going to have our people talk to their people, see what can happen. And that's going to wrap up the ski news. And speaking of talking to people, we had a great conversation with our friends, Tricia and Phil Pugliese from skitalk.com. If you don't know their website and you bought gear, like you bought the wrong gear, probably go to their site. They got great reviews, tons of different reviewers, whatever style, whatever level you're at, you're going to find the right reviews for the right products. They're great people. We met them at Snowbound. Tons of good information. We think you're going to love this conversation. So check it out and enjoy. Tricia and Phil Pugliese from Ski Talk. And we have a couple of very special guests this week. If you've ever looked for a ski review or wanted to know about new gear, I'm sure you came across their site. They are very well known in the ski media world. It is Tricia and Phil Pugliese of skitalk.com. Tricia and Phil, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is awesome.
Our pleasure. Yeah, we've been we had a bit of a rough back and forth, getting this scheduled. And, me and Mario even had a couple issues scheduling the last 2 weeks. You guys have been on the road. We were up at Killington. And so my mom was watching our two kids. They're 5 and 2. We were so happy to get away. But as we were driving up there, my wife and I are both like, we're going to pay for this dearly somehow. And that Monday morning, we were ready to hop on the slopes. Text from my mom. Kids are dropped off. Everything's great. Half an hour later, school calls. Benjamin is vomiting. Come and get him. So, and then as soon as we got home, our daughter got sick and was vomiting like 3 hours after we got home. And then we got sick, and it's just been a rough week. But I'm so glad we got this scheduled. We're so glad we're talking to you guys. Tricia and Phil. So you guys have been all over the place this winter. You've been traveling. And you guys are living that unfortunate snow desert right now of the Reno Tahoe area.
Yeah, for sure.
So you guys are stationed there.
Yep.
How did you guys end up there, and where did you guys get your starts skiing?
Whew, that's a big one.
Yep.
I don't even know why I continued skiing after my first experience. It was my boyfriend at the time. I was 18 years old. He took me to the Bunny Hill at Cabernet Peaks in Michigan, which is like a 375-foot vertical hill, and put me on the Bunny Hill, rental equipment, which was miserable. And because we all know rental equipment is designed to fit everybody equally poorly.
Perfectly.
And he taught me how to do a snowplow, came back about an hour later, said, hey, you look good enough. Let's go to the next size hill. And I crashed about 18 times going down that tiny little hill. And it was a miserable experience, but I wasn't going to be the girl that didn't, go back for the boy. Right. So I continued to do it. Later, I worked with my nephew in a ski school program for after school skiing. And it kind of rejuvenated my passion, especially when you do it through the eyes of kids. It's just really amazing because it's contagious. And then several years later, when I was 40 years old, I took my first ski lesson. That's when I met Phil for the first time. And here we are, 16 years later. We moved to Tahoe 12 years ago, almost 13, and started this life together.
My start was a little bit different. I grew up in the Poconos, and it was the old "my mom will drive if your mom picks up" a group of guys that we used to ski with, which was just a ton of fun. Skied out of Hellenbach, and one of the guys that I skied with and grew up with back in Pennsylvania actually lives here in Reno, and actually he's also one of our ski testers, and that's Andy Mink. We've been great friends over the course of the years. Brought him aboard. But yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania, started skiing there, moved down to Philadelphia, worked in some ski shops in that area, managed some shops, did some buying, and just became having the innate ability to discern the differences in skis, which caught the attention of a lot of manufacturers. And they started reaching out and talked to me about some development projects, worked with some manufacturers on the rep side and some product development. And then, just as Trish said, we worked our way out to Tahoe. We had some different opportunities out here. We looked all over the West as far as different opportunities, and just something kept drawing us to Tahoe. And so far, it's just been fantastic.
Your timing was probably really good too, right? Because it seems like there's been just a massive boom there over the last decade.
Yeah, we moved out here. It was at the bottom of the market, so the opportunities to buy a home and establish roots here was just prime for us. I hate to use this too frivolously, but it just felt like something in the universe pulled us here, told us this is where we should be, and everything just kind of landed here for us. And
You just went with it. That's great.
Yeah. We pushed against it at first, but when we finally gave into it, it just seems like everything kept falling into place, and it was great for us, because if we would move out here now, we couldn't afford where we live. We couldn't afford doing what we do. And fortunately, because of we moved here when we did, we're able to, we have a pretty small nut to crack.
So fortunately, I mean, Tahoe, they talk about that you come for the winter and stay for the summer, and that really is true. And Reno has grown as such a great community. We've got some tremendous mountain biking in the off season. Right, we go right out our door. We got Peavine right behind us with about 75 miles of trails. So I mean, we've got just a ton of 4-season opportunities here. The golf is really good, and playing at about 6,000 feet high. I hit the ball as far as I think I can.
500 yards, right?
You should come out and golf with us sometime.
That would be great. It's funny because we
goes forever.
How Mario and I got back into skiing was actually in Tahoe also.
Heavenly.
And yeah, at Heavenly, we probably close to the same time as 2008? 2008.
Yeah,
we went out there. And we Mario and his wife at the time had a timeshare that they were able to go anywhere with, and they chose South Lake Tahoe. And my girlfriend, now wife at the time, and they invited us out, and I hadn't skied in probably 8 years. I'd skied 3 times in my life. I was 30 years old. We went out there, and first, similar, Tricia, to your experience, my first run was an absolute nightmare. It took me 45 minutes to get down the first little trail off of the lift because I fell and I didn't realize that my binding was partially engaged because I had no idea what I was doing. And I kept trying to jam my boot back in there. And I was like freaking out, and sweat's pouring down my face, and they're all around the corner and can't see me. And, just getting through that. And then after a couple more runs being like, oh, this is fun. And then after the first day, this is really, really fun. And by the end of the week, I was like, my life is now different. And I was like, this is a sport I need in my life all the time. Mm-hmm. So maybe something is in Tahoe. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the elevation. There's something there though that drags you.
Beautiful there.
Yeah.
Well, and your experience that you're talking about is exactly why Phil and I tend to be those people that if we're skiing down a slope and we see somebody struggling, especially if we see somebody struggling with rental gear, but pretty much anybody who's struggling, we'll stop and say, hey, can I help you? Because we have a pretty solid knowledge of what to do to get back up and running once you've fallen on the slopes or lost a ski or something. And so many people don't. The engaged binding, a lot of times when you ski up, they're trying to put their foot back in and they haven't popped the heel back down. And how many times do we witness that in a year? And I really feel that it's our job. We feel that it's our job to help set beginners up for success. And so often people just ski by and don't care and don't pay attention or don't think it's any of their business really. And
well, it's also one of the ethos of our site is we as far as the traffic that comes to our site, we want
skitalk.com, right?
Yes, exactly. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we want to make an environment that's accepting for beginners. There's so many sites out there that they treat everybody that they were born with skis on, and it's just not the case. We want to make this sport accessible for people. We want to make it enjoyable. We want to, as Tricia said, we want to set them up for success and to go out there and have a good time and help them avoid those pitfalls like you had, like Tricia had, and to have the best experience out there on the hills and get a proper boot fit and get set up properly in rentals and get good instruction to make this such a lifelong sport for them. I mean, this industry, the retention rate is less than 50%, which is really unfortunate. So we want to make sure that we want to set these people up to have the opportunity to have the best experience possible.
Yeah, because that barrier to entry for skiing is daunting for a lot of
It
people.
is very
You know,
much.
really
well,
is.
first off, some people just hate the cold straight out, you know, and that's what cuts out 30 to 40% probably to start. And then Tricia, you mentioned it, Phil, you kind of reiterated the rental equipment when you first start out. Is there anything, because you guys, and we didn't even mention, you guys are master boot fitters also. And I know, Tricia, when we were up at Snowbound, you showed me some pictures of someone you actually fitted a boot for, and I was completely drop jawed. That was incredible. Do you think there's anything that could be done in mass? I'm talking, you know, across the rental shops, the ski schools, where you could get people into better fitting equipment their first day.
We really wish that there was. And we've had this discussion with a lot of industry professionals, anywhere from Mike Rogan on the top end from PSIA, one of their examiners and their demo team members, to resort management. Is the most important person in this industry is the person that's coming into the sport, because that's where all of the growth is. But the resorts are set up backwards, where they are giving that most important person the least qualified employees to bring them in. And that's in the rental department. That's that first time instructor that these people should be seeing a good boot fitter to get in a properly fit boot. And we want to get them one of the better instructors instead of the person that might have 4 more days on snow than that first person. We want to set them up for success in that process, to walk them through that A to B to C to D, and that whole process to get them out on the hill to have that good experience. But unfortunately, this industry really has it wrong.
Well, and it's not just the industry. It's us as skiers. We are in a different position because of what we do and how knowledgeable we are about the base from the ground up. But and I'll give you an example. The first time I went skiing, it was my boyfriend at the time. We went in, we got rental equipment. This is in 1984, so a bit ago. And he went out and showed me how to do a snowplow. He went out and said, "This is how you stop." And that was pretty much my lesson. So it's not just the industry, it's also our friends. And when we take somebody skiing for the first time, we are remiss if we're trying to teach our friend how to ski.
Yeah, I always shudder when people are like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna take somebody out on the slopes," and then you hear they took them right up to the top, and it's ridiculous.
And I worked for 5 years at a boot shop, at a ski shop at the base of the mountain at North Star. And I'll never forget, one day this girl comes in, and we're talking maybe 5 years ago this was, and she comes in and she's miserable in her boots that she's got on, and they're 3 sizes too big. And I said, "Where did you get these?" And she said, "My boyfriend wanted to teach me to ski, so he borrowed his buddy's equipment." So she's skiing and she's learning to ski in her boyfriend's friend's equipment.
And it didn't go amazing.
And just bad idea.
And it was miserable for her. So I talked her into letting me fit her into a boot. I found something that was in the sales section, so it was a moderate price boot. Recreational fit. She loved it. It fit great. Her feet didn't hurt anymore. And then I set her up with a coupon to go get a pair of decent rental skis instead of the base rental skis. And her boyfriend met her in there. "How'd your boot fit go? Did they fix the problem?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm buying these boots." And he railed on me and said, "You're just trying to sell her something." And I said, "Listen, do you want her to ski? If you do, this is the right path."
It's an investment in the future.
And later that year, she came in the shop and thanked me and loved skiing. But it's
broke up with the guy looking for a new boyfriend.
She stuck with him, I guess. But again, I saw her a few times that season. She was happy she bought the boots. It ended up setting her up for success. And but there shouldn't be an assumption that you're just trying to be sold something. It should be that somebody really cares. I sincerely cared about her experience.
Mm-hmm. It sucks that people just always seem to think you're going to be on the take. And with this, I mean, it is a unique sport in that regard, is that, it is, unfortunately, there is a barrier to entry, a financial one, but it's one of those things that if you do go the right path, your whole journey is going to be different. You're going to enjoy it. Because again, you're dealing with the cold. You get a bad fitting boot, you're going to freeze your feet off. You're going to be miserable. You know, you get a bad fitting boot, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to be able to make your turns right.
Right.
Yep.
But how do you get that across to someone who's new? Or is there some way that there's a low cost, easily customizable like boot solution?
Well, one of the things, and I'll bring up Palisades Tahoe, they have a program called the Perfect Progression. And I think it's probably one of the better thought out programs that they have. And I'd have to look up the absolute details. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but if you went to their website and looked up Perfect Progression, you can sign up for lessons. And I think you take 3 or 4 lessons and they set you up with performance rental equipment and not the basic. And you have 3 or 4 lessons. Again, I'd have to check that. And once you complete those, you get a season pass there.
Whoa.
And I
wow.
think the price for that Perfect Progression program is something like $600.
Yeah, I think they limit it though. I'm just looking at it right now. I just brought it up. It says price sold out, so they might only have a limited number.
They have limited amounts per year.
Yep. Okay.
But it's a really good program, and it's not known. Like people don't know about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know, like, kind of in the same but different vein. Like for my kids, I do the season rentals from a local shop.
Yeah.
And what's great about that is you're not wasting the time at the mountain, because that is the nightmare nobody wants to deal with. Right. And 2, they're like, hey, if his foot grows or something changes, come on in. We'll get him fitted in a different boot. And I think it was maybe $120 for the season, 150.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really reasonable.
No, there are some really good programs. And when I was back east, the one shop that I worked at, that was one of the cornerstones of the business, was that seasonal rentals. And I think we did something like $3,500 a year. So, I mean, the tremendous amount of
$3,500. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was my first pair of skis were rent to own. I rented them for the season, and then I bought them out at the end because it was just easier to buy them that way.
Yep.
Those are good programs too, because again, you can try it out for the whole season. If it works, great. If not, we'll try it again next season.
And there's a good chance, like we've worked at shops before. We're not affiliated with a specific shop at this point, but we've worked at shops that had season leases before and have been thrown into the season lease program. And if we're not busy on the boot bench, and when that happens, that person gets set up for success because of the things that we already talked about. A shop employee is less likely to make a mistake in a season lease than somebody that was just hired on the mountain and barely completed orientation.
Right.
Well, plus, having that for the whole season, you have that consistency of the same boot, same ski every time you go out, rather than switching every time.
Develop that familiarity and start getting a flow and understanding your equipment better.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's mostly some about the ski. It's mostly about the boots. We always say you marry your boots and date your skis.
Yeah.
That's absolutely perfect.
Yep.
So now let's talk about ski talk. Talk a lot about beginners. Let's talk about some pros now. All right.
Okay.
So ski talk, you started that about 2015, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And that evolved from pugski.com.
Yep.
Did you have a different vision for what Pugski would have been when you first started it, or did you kind of know the path you wanted to take?
We initially worked on epicski.com. And when Vail Resorts purchased it, we worked under their umbrella for about 3 years before they released us from our contracts and said they were going to take our jobs in-house. The community ended up really pushing, and they said, you have to do this. You've been giving away your talents for too long. You guys are the knowledge. You're the content builders. You have to do this. And they just started to crowdfund us. It was not our initial concept to do this website. And they said the name Pugski and bought the URL, gifted the URL to us. And we had a very generous web builder step up and help us build the website, the initial part of it. And we knew that what we were building was not going to be the end game. In fact, what we're doing now is not going to be the end game, because we are firm believers that if you don't grow with what you're doing, then you're dying. You're either growing or you're dying.
Yep.
And so that was the initial thought. Phil's the one that had the brainchild for the review pages and the article section. I'll let him speak to that a little more.
So one of the things, again, there's many review sites that are out there. A lot of it has become, quite frankly, regurgitated manufacturer's rhetoric. And it's very, and everything pretty much says the same thing, and they don't see really anything bad about the skis, or even who's it for, and as far as discerning the differences in the products. And again, not that there's really any bad skis out there. Manufacturers really aren't in the market of making bad skis, and those have since long gone by the wayside. But one of the things that I wanted in our review site is, one, who's a ski for and who's it not for. And there's nothing worse than getting on the wrong product. And it's not good for you. It's not good for the manufacturer. It's not good for anybody. And it's where people get that information from that can help discern avoiding those wrong products. And we talked about friends teaching friends. Well, friends recommending equipment also isn't always the best thing either, because a lot of times they're validating their own opinions. 100%. And if somebody's 6'2", 240, their knuckles ragged, they have an extra long cranium, and they recommend the ski that they like to somebody that's 5'6", 140 pounds, they won't be able to bend that ski. Yeah. And we see that a lot in guys recommending skis for their girlfriends or wives or significant others, because then again, I'm just going to pick out 2 skis just because they're very popular. If he's on the Mantra and he's a big guy and he wants to put his wife on the Secret 96 and she's only 5'0", 105 pounds, she won't be able to bend that ski just because he can. Not that it's not a bad ski, but it's the wrong ski. And that's one of the things that we really try to help people discern the differences. And the other differences in our review platform is, one, it's done by regular skiers. And as Tricia says, skiers with achievable skill set. That you can ski like us. You can't ski like some of the people that are testing for some of the major publications. They might be ex-World Cup racers or ex-collegiate racers or PSI.
Marcus Caston uses this ski, so I'm going to use it too.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I don't ski like Hochi. Yeah. There's a lot of that. And the other thing that we truly want to avoid from the start was a numerical rating of skis, an 8.6 or whatever the ratings would be, because you could take 5 skis or 10 skis. Every single one of those could be a score of a 10, depending on the person that's looking for that type of ski.
Well, and we were, when we were working on Epic Ski prior to the launch of Pug Ski, we had done some product testing for On the Snow. We were part of their test team.
Okay.
And it was interesting because we received these cards to fill out. And one day we skied all mountain skis, and the next day we skied powder skis, and the next day we skied groomer skis. And we had the same card for everyone. And I shouldn't be rating a powder ski on a scale of 1 to 5 on how well it carves. And I shouldn't be rating a carving ski on a scale of 1 to 5 on how it handles powder. Yeah. So when we launched our site, things that describe this, we want to tell you a little bit about what we experienced on it, where we skied it, the conditions we skied it, and then determine who's this ski for. Is this for a finesse skier that likes to carve? Is it for a big, strong skier that is going to charge hard lines? Who's this ski made for? And because of that, we've had quite a following in the industry. In fact, one of the national product managers said that's specifically why he came to us to work with us on our website, is because he liked how we did that. We were honest about the ski without trashing it or building it up.
You know, it's funny. You kind of mentioned the first point you brought up about, someone on the Mantra then going to was it the Secret? It's so funny when you go and watch couples at resorts. So many times they have the same brand of ski. Like, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I had a pair of Enforcer 93s. My wife now has those, and I have the 100s. Yeah. But luckily she's tall and she's a really good skier, so she can actually use that ski, which has been pretty good. But you see so much of that. And how do you think a consumer, a skier, how does a consumer skier know what ski they should be on?
That's tough. And again, we're into nuances of skis and differences. I mean, once you make your selection, and when somebody goes into a shop, if the salesperson isn't asking more questions than trying to sell you a product, they don't have your interest in mind. All they're looking to sell a product. If they're asking questions, where do you ski? What part of the mountain do you ski? What do you like? What don't you like? Are you looking for a ski that is going to work with your strengths, or do you want to build on your weaknesses? If you're not getting questions like this and asked to you when you're looking for skis, they don't have your interest in mind. They just want to sell you skis. If you're a woman that goes in and say, well, this is what my mom skis, or this is what my girlfriend skis, doesn't matter. I don't know your mom. I don't know your girlfriend. I don't know if they're good, bad, otherwise, and what their needs are in a ski. That's irrelevant.
And quite frankly, that's why I started to do more research and got really involved on Epic Ski initially. As I went to do the research, because I walked into a shop and there was a college age guy, that perfectly well-meaning and probably still works at a ski shop to this day. And I walked in, I was looking for a new ski. I was on my old straight skis. I was looking for my first shape ski, and it ended up being a Vocal Vertigo G3. I remember that ski like crazy good. And what was interesting is when I walked into the initial shop that I walked into, the guy goes, well, let me show you what my mom skis. And it totally turned me off because he knew nothing about me.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a lot of assumptions as a ski salesman, which is, again, unfortunate because it rarely leads to the right product being put on the consumer.
And that's when I joined Epic Ski, and that's when I did the research and figured out a few things. I went and demoed some skis and ended up getting the Vocal Vertigo G3, and it was my first shape ski, and I had that for a long time. I think my niece still owns it.
Do you think any of those, like that Carve app, or a lot of folks use the those like Ski Tracks, or there's other apps on your phone where it tracks your speed, your distance? Do you think any of those could provide enough data for a user that you could bring it to you, or have some sort of, like, I'm getting a little crazy here, I was on Chat GPT and stuff, like create an algorithm that goes, okay, this is where I skied last season, this is what I did, plug this data in and go, okay, one of these types of skis are for you? Is that possible, or is that a little
video?
Insane.
Just bring a video of you skiing that on some of your favorite terrain. That probably is one of the most helpful things. If they just bring in some video on their phone,
their highlight reel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That should give somebody a good idea of what they.
Well, the biggest thing that I did, I used to trick people when I worked at the store, because I'd say, what runs do you ski, and how many days a week do you ski, and what's your favorite terrain? And they go, oh, I ski the whole mountain. And there was a run at North Star called the Rapids that goes underneath the backside chair, and it's just solid bump run top to bottom. And I'd say, well, what do you like and what do you don't like about your current ski when you ski the Rapids? Oh, I don't ski moguls. The minute they say that, I know they don't ski the whole mountain.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
What percentage of people do you think buy skis?
Go ahead.
You hear me? What percentage do you think buy skis without ever trying them?
I think a good amount too. And we have a lot of discussion on our site about demoing. Demoing is very difficult. There's a lot of variables that come into it. A lot of the demo shops actually are glorified rental shops. So, I mean, that equipment is not there as a sales tool to really show that product in its best light, but just to go out and just earn the shop money. It gets beat up and it gets skied out. And a lot of people don't realize when you're demoing a ski, you're demoing four things. You're demoing the tune of the ski, the bindings that are on the ski, because the demo bindings can be dramatically different than the retail counterparts of the binding. You're demoing the conditions that you're skiing that ski in, and lastly, the ski. And if you're considering maybe 2 or 3 different skis, and unless you demo them all in the same conditions on the same day with the same tune, you're really not getting a good comparison.
So is it impossible to find the right ski?
It's not.
No, it's
not.
it's easier than really people think about it, because these skis nowadays are so good, and for the most part, they're extremely versatile. And the performance range that we're seeing on a lot of higher end skis now, that performance is so much more accessible now than it was 10 years ago, where we used to have a performance window this big in a ski. Now we've got a performance window much lower without losing that top end of the ski, make it much more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things is that perhaps you didn't get the one ski that was right, but the second or third place one, the margin of difference is so minimal that you're probably not going to lose out on too much.
And that's why I really try to avoid those number ratings of skis, because very well that second or third place ski by some of the scoring, it was going to be a better ski for more people.
Well, we also ran into some people that were on a demo day. We were up in New Hampshire, and they were talking about the tune on the ski and how important that was. That they were used to a certain tune versus, and I was kind of like clueless to it. So it was kind of nice to hear that.
Absolutely.
No, that's really important. We go to a lot of national demos, which actually buying shows also for retailers coming in to make their selection for the following year. And you'd be surprised how many poorly tuned skis there are out there, and the amount of people that cannot discern the difference, whether it's the ski or the tune.
Wow. And I know I was out at, I think it was Beaver Creek a couple of years ago, and I was talking to the lady working at the guest services, and she was telling me the ski, her son owned a shop somewhere out in Colorado, and she said the skis she has, she got them, she hated them, her son totally retuned them, and they're her favorite skis on the planet.
We actually just recently had one of our boot clients come to us and ask us about a ski that she just purchased, and she skied it and hated it. So I showed up with a pair of our demo skis that we had in our fleet and swapped skis with her and skied on hers for a bit. And I looked at her and said, it's the tune. It's 100% the tune. Because I've skied on the ski with a good tune before, and I know what's going on. And she was like, thank goodness I thought it was me. It's like,
it's incredible. And yeah, what a difference that can make. Just something, I mean, it's there's so many things that are critical to this sport, you know, like, and again, going back to the higher barrier to entry, a lot of folks, it's almost better they don't know what they don't know, because if they went into this, you know, and you're asking about all these you know, different aspects of it, and, you know, tuning and the skis and the everything, it's a lot.
Yeah. And it comes down to what we said very first and foremost in this show is it's just trying to set people up for success. And how do you eat an elephant? You start one bite at a time. And you shouldn't make the person eat the whole elephant in one sitting, you know?
Yeah. And it still comes down to the boot. The boot's the most important piece of your equipment. You're going to get more with a proper, better fitting boot and a lesser ski than the other way around, because the energy you put to the ski goes to the boot. And if you don't have a proper fitted boot, you can be on any ski, whether it be a $199 package ski or a $2,000 boutique ski from Europe. You're not going to have a good experience if the boot doesn't fit you well.
Even if you have those $50,000 foil skis, it won't matter.
Yeah.
You also enjoy the whole day when you're on a good boot. So you don't get that, like, you know, you enjoy being out, you enjoy, you know, skiing and hanging out versus being miserable and going in early. You know, I've seen people do that, just leave.
It's good for the bar. The bar's happy you do that.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I'll go back to when I worked at the base of the mountain. I worked at North Star, where some people had really expensive vacations. They were staying at a condo in the village. They brought their whole family. And I would ask them when they come in with a boot question, how many days a year do you ski? And they say 6 or 7, maybe.
This week.
And it's this week. They pay for this 1 week, and they're paying literally tens of thousands of dollars for this vacation to stay in the village during Christmas, because that's when the kids are out of school, right? And I go to start working on it. How long have you had your boots? Oh, I just got them this year. Well, they're a few years old model. I got them in a ski swap in the Bay Area. And You just spent tens of thousands of dollars on a vacation, and you're spending your time in the shop taking care of a boot you got for $150.
Mario and I were actually up at Whistler a bunch of years ago, and I know we talked to you guys when we were up at Snowbound about getting our boots at Surefoot, and we saw the same thing, but I guess this was the opposite. The family was there. They were like, "Hey, we're doing Christmas at Whistler. Let's all get Surefoot boots too. That's another 10 grand."
That's the polar opposite. That's the polar opposite, but they're setting themselves up for future success. They're going to be in those boots for a long time.
Hopefully, or until next Christmas, and they buy new boots for themselves.
Yeah, and a family like that probably has they probably got a private instructor for the week and
got their own heli, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? Yes. The struggle is real.
For sure.
So now with Ski Talk,
yeah,
I was just looking at your at the site, and how many folks do you have as a part of your Ski Talk crew now?
Including our editor and social media people and testers, we have probably about 15 or so. A lot of them are part-time people.
And some are volunteer.
Yep.
And some are not.
Yeah.
That's pretty significant though. Even if it's part-time and volunteers, like it seems to be, you know, things are definitely progressing in a good direction for you guys.
We're busy.
Absolutely. And when you go back to the whole question about testing, one of the things that we did as a unique thing that I have not seen anybody else do in the review forum, in the review area, is we started out maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We were doing a product test, and one of our friends was in town, and he's really knowledgeable, and he has a really keen idea of how a ski works, but he was an intermediate at the time, and we said, "Hey, come to the test. We want to see how this works." And we took him to a test and said, "Now, can you describe to me what the ski is doing?" And he was very articulate, and he wrote some really beautiful reviews, and he wrote them from an intermediate viewpoint. And it took off because nobody interviews from a real intermediate viewpoint.
It's always, I'm a former Olympian, U.S. ski team. And you're like, oh, well, that's great. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
And it was interesting because Steven related to a lot of people. Now his skiing is advanced and he's not an intermediate anymore. But it was crazy how his reviews, people were attracted to them almost more than anything because they were like, wow, nobody ever speaks to this
audience.
People. Yeah. And it ended up, we ended up then getting a female intermediate tester. And then we realized how much we don't know about the intermediate level of a ski because of where we are as skiers. And you forget.
For sure.
So
like trying to teaching that beginner again. You're forgetting all the things that, you what scared you when you were starting out? What was the thing that made you uncomfortable?
Right. And so that's one thing we do. And to my knowledge, there isn't anybody else who does ski reviews from an intermediate view.
And then I remember one of the publications, this is going back decades ago, brought people in, readers to do reviews, and it failed miserably. And one of the things that was asked was, why don't you have intermediate testers? Is, well, intermediates do not know how to discern ski. And I really disagree with that. A good intermediate that's smart can discern those differences of that ski
and relate it to the customers.
Yep, and relate.
But it's also a very small skill set of folks that have that ability to write and describe, but are still at that level as well.
Yep.
And
we have experts that can't describe a ski, and just because
rips, bro.
Just because you're a top level skier, and we get people come up to us and says, "Well, we ski a lot. Can we review for you?" Well, tell me about the ski that you're on. Well, I like it.
Yeah,
it's fast.
Exactly.
Well, how's it compared to this other ski? Well, I like this one better. Why? Well, no.
Yeah, I don't think it would be helpful to hear, bro, this rips. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's plenty of sites there for that.
Yeah.
So how many members does a Ski Talk have now?
As far as our core, we got around about 8,000 or 9,000 active members on our site, but that's really part of it. The main thing is our viewership on it. And I can't tell you how many times I'm someplace somebody comes up and say, "Oh, I read the site all the time. I love the reviews and whatever." And I said, "Great. Well, who are you on the site?" "Well, I'm not a member. I just lurk." And it's those people that are very important. And one of the things that we really talk about, and I re-emphasize over and over and over on the site, is when you're answering a question in our site, or you have that question, you're not answering that person asking the question. You're answering those other thousands of eyes that might have that same question but are afraid to ask it, don't know how to ask it. So our readership that way, and again, even gets back to our reviews. Everything that we want to do is interactive. That our reviews are not static reviews. That you read their reviews and say, "Well, this sounds good, but how does that relate to me?" Where you can actually talk and communicate with our testers on that specific ski. And one of the things that, as far as in our responses, where you might be interested in that ski, the test is, "Well, I know you're asking me this, but you might want to consider this ski also," as far as a consideration. And we've had people ask us, "Well, what do the manufacturers think about that?" I said they love it, because they don't want to have somebody out there on their ski if it's not going to work for them. They want that person on that right ski. Or again, go back to the mantra as an example. While they might start off looking at that mantra, they might end up with a kendo. They might end up with something a little like maybe a Secret 94, the Blaze 94 or the Blaze 102. That might be a little better for them. And just to be able to answer that questions for them and have that ability of that interactive review.
Because again, people don't know what they don't know. If they only know one type of ski that a manufacturer makes, and you open their eyes to something else, and they have a better experience because of that, it's a huge win.
Brian, another example is I was doing a lecture at a women's clinic at Mount Rose here about a month ago. And a woman came up to us and she said, "I was reading a review and I really wanted this really great Rossi Experience ski. And I bought this and I bought it in this length." And she was telling me, and I'm like, "Boy, that seems kind of short for you. And you got the basalt version, which is a little bit lighter. And tell me what's going on with it." She goes, "Well, I get bounced around and it's a little twitchy." I said, "I'd recommend a little bit longer version and go with a tie version for your size and skill set." She goes, "There's a tie version?" She ended up demoing the tie version. Right?
Yeah.
She ended up demoing the tie version and bought it.
Yeah. And this is a woman that she's an athletic woman. Visually, you can see that she's like 5'6", 5'7", a tall woman, and you can tell she does a lot of sports. And when she walked into the shop, they sold her the ski in what I'll call the mom size, which only came up to here on her. Mm-hmm. And it was not nearly enough ski. The ski has a lot of rise, and so ski's even shorter. So they were the right church, but the wrong pew. I mean, we love the ski as far as the experience, and it was the 86.
And there's somebody for that basalt version, but it wasn't this woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guilty of the same thing. Before I knew too much, I had a pair of the RTMs, the 80s. And I was getting my wife the same pair of skis, but I made sure to get her the shorter one. So I had a 171. I got her a 166. They were too short for both of us, but I had no idea. I was just like, I don't want her to have bigger skis than me, man. So it was, now she's skiing on a 177 because she's tall and she can bend it. She can ski really well with it. And it's just, again, because I was dumb, I affected her skiing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that anymore. Now, besides ski talk, are you guys still doing boot fitting?
Yes. We've got pretty much a by appointment program. We've got a full boot lab at our headquarters, which is also our home. It's set up, quite frankly, better than probably 85% of the shops in the country as far as canting alignment, assessment, footbeds. We're set up soup to nuts as far as doing a proper boot fit for people. But we really don't advertise it. We just pretty much work by appointments.
And we don't sell boots.
Yeah.
We will do a boot recommendation and help the person figure out the boot that they need, and then we'll do the work afterwards.
I was going to ask that. I'm like, yeah, if you guys aren't a real shop, how do you get the inventory? That's got to be, I feel like that's, again, one of those barriers or issues with the barrier to entry to skiing, is that if a shop only has Salomon boots, they're going to make sure you fit into some pair of Salomon boots when maybe a Scarpa or a Dalbello is the right thing for you.
Well, every manufacturer, and we get people say, well, I don't have a Lang foot, or I only have a Nordica foot, or this and that. Every manufacturer has a full line of boots that fit a multitude of feet. I mean, there's very few manufacturers that if a shop wants to carry just one brand, they could survive because that manufacturer offers a multitude of different shapes. But you're better off with at least 2 or 3 full line brands and build from there. But as far as the way that the manufacturers have their different, we'll use the term last, which is the shape of the inside of the boot, there are a lot of options, especially now with all the heat fitting shell options that you have.
Okay. And is there anything you guys can do online, or does someone have to be there at the headquarters for a fitting?
We'd have to physically see their feet and figure, see it.
Can't send you a bunch of weird foot photos and you guys can like figure it out?
No. Well, what you can't tell is you can't tell soft tissue. You can look at a foot, but you don't know as far as how much of it is bone, how much is where the veins running on it, what is soft tissue. You can't tell as far as how much the boot pronates, supinates, and as far as how flexible the foot is from just pictures and such. You need to really touch, feel, and work with the foot.
We have a few basic don'ts, like, well, I call them my walkout commandments. If you go into a boot shop and they ask you what size shoe do you wear, walk out. They need to measure your foot. If you walk into a shop and they don't ask you to take your shoes and socks off so that they can see the veins and the soft tissue on your foot, walk out. If you walk into a shop and they say, hey, I like this boot for me, so I'm going to put it on you, walk out. There are just some things that you have to experience when you go into a shop. And if you don't experience, they need to measure your foot fully. They need to measure your vamp, which is your instep area over top of your foot, not just the length of your foot. They need to measure your arch length. If they don't take all those measurements and they're just getting you a boot based on your shoe size, walk out.
I bought my first pair at Sports Authority and had that. Those were all 3 of those I would have hit, and I should have walked out. But live and learn. I got a nice planter out of it, so something, right? Well, speaking of boots,
yes,
we're already at 45 minutes here. This time flew.
Okay,
BOA. That's been the big thing. Everyone's talking about BOA now.
Yep.
Have you guys checked any of those boots out yet?
Yeah, we've got actually there's 4 manufacturers who are working with BOA this year, and that is Atomic, Salomon, K2, and Fisher. These are 4 brands that have had relationships with BOA through the years, whether it be for snowboard boots, liners, or even AT boots. We've worked with all 4 brands. I've got the K2, the Salomon, and the Atomic in my boot rotation for this year. One of our testers has the Fisher in their rotation, and Tricia has
the Salomon and the
Atomic. It's a fit option. It's really what it is. And what it has the ability of doing is encompassing that foot a little bit snugger and a little more uniform than buckles. So it's a nuanced difference. It's an evolution in boot fit. We're going to see probably more manufacturers going with it over the next couple of years. Are we going to see every manufacturer adopt it? No, we're not. There's going to be some that are going to stick with traditional buckles. That's fine too. Is it the end all be all of it? Is it hype? There's a lot of sizzle with the steak, but I will say it does work.
Is it kind of like the micro adjustments you can make? Like maybe you're between like 2 buckles? Like
yes,
it would get you that.
Let me grab a boot and I'll just walk through it quick.
Okay, great. But now, Tricia, the things you kind of mentioned, your walkout stuff. You guys did that demo at Snowbound, which is awesome, where you guys actually showed that, and that was I think that's eye opening for people, because a lot of people probably never realized that that's how bad and how you're not going to get the right fit if the boot fitter does that.
Yeah. This is the K2. The clog on the boot, which the clog is the lower part of the boot, and that's what the BOA is attached to. It also, these clogs, they didn't take just the clog from last year, add slap BOA on it, and called it good. It is actually set up a little bit different, the way that the BOA is attached to the boot. Can you switch this to full screen for a little bit bigger?
Sure.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
So our BOA dial is here on the side here, and it's a little bit different than BOAs in the past. First of all, the cable is much beefier than any BOA that has come before, whether it was on a snowboard boot, whether it was on a golf shoe, or whatever.
Yeah, I have a K2 rollerblade, and I can see there.
Yep. And the strength in this is dramatically different. The other difference is in the dial on this, as I rotate forward, it brings the lower clog in together. And what it also does, it brings the sides in also, and not just the top down, which buckles are very susceptible to doing. So it does that. The other ability that this has that previous BOAs did not, it has the ability of loosening a little bit. So we can dial this back a couple of notches also, along with tightening. Where in previous generations of BOA, what you would have to do to release it is you would have to open it up completely. That would release tension.
And start over again, right?
Exactly, and start over again. Now we have the ability of going either direction on it.
That's pretty slick.
People were concerned about it breaking. This is a breakaway design. If I smash this on something, the BOA piece will come off and it clicks back on. You don't have to worry about it breaking and coming apart and damaging itself. People say, oh, I ski high edge angles. I don't want to boot out on it. Boot out means you're hitting the side of the boot and it makes that ski slide away. This is up higher than any buckle would be, so you have less chance of booting out with this. Durability also, that's going to be long-term for you. Any shop that is carrying a BOA boot from any of these manufacturers will have a fit kit there. So if something does break, that you can go into that shop and they got replacement parts. You'll be in and out of that shop in probably 20 minutes or less. Again, this is the K2 version of it. The Solomon and the other two brands, Atomic and Fisher, they're going to look identical to this, just different colors on it. So as far as the lines that are available, is K2 probably has the most extensive line as far as fit models, whether it be the Recon and the women's is the Anthem, and then also the Mindbender, which they're backcountry boots or side country boots. They all have BOA, and I believe they got like 6 or 7 different models. Solomon is focusing primarily on the front side collection with the Supra boots, and Atomic is going to focus on the side country or the backcountry collection with the XTDs in that. And fits on them going to be a little bit different. Most of the manufacturers are going with a 100 millimeter or a medium volume last in the boots. The K2 and the Solomon are 100 millimeters, same as that of the Fisher. The Atomic is actually a 98 last. So that is going to be a lower volume shell that will be coming in BOA from them for this first year.
Yeah, because they're offering the Hawx Ultra XT.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any sort of weight difference with the BOA system versus a regular buckle?
Negligible. It might be 50 grams compared to the buckles, and that's going to vary from manufacturer to manufacturer and the weight of the buckles that were on that traditional counterpart of the boot.
Is there anything else people should know about before wanting to jump into BOAs? Or
if it fits, get it. If it doesn't, move on to a different boot. Don't make a decision if the boot has or does not have BOA. The fit is first and foremost.
Okay, beautiful. I think that answered a lot of questions. We're getting close to an hour here. Let me get you back to, here we go. All right, back to the regular cropped layout mode. So you guys, like I said, you guys have you're based in Tahoe, but you guys have had a great winter bouncing all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere you guys have on your bucket list that you want to ski? And you guys get to ski all over the place. So there aren't that many places left.
Yeah, we've talked about Taos. We want to go to Telluride.
Yep.
This past year, we hit up a few new places. We hit Crested Butte and Monarch, which we had not skied before. Brighton, which I'd only skied once ever before. in Utah. And Monarch this year, probably one of our highlights. Monarch was one of our highlights, and the second highlight was Sundance, I would say. We had an opportunity to go to Sundance with 30 people from our website and had a phenomenal powder day.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We really started to enjoy the atmosphere and the vibe of ski areas over ski resorts. And those smaller areas really are a lot more intimate, a lot more local flair, can be a little less expensive, a little bit easier to get around in them. And they've been a lot of fun to really ski. And again, our home mountain here is in the Tahoe Basin is Mount Rose. A lot of it is because the accessibility of it with our jobs in testing skis. We need access to our car pretty regularly. So getting to and from our car and the parking lot is very accessible at Mount Rose. That works out very well for us. It's the highest elevation here in Tahoe, and the amount of snow that they get because that is very consistent. That's nice. And as far as places, Trish mentioned a lot, and I'd like to get back to Yellowstone Club. That was a lot of fun getting back there. So,
didn't Nazia just have an offering at the Hall of Fame week?
We did. The Hall of Fame had an offering to ski over Yellowstone Club. We were scheduled to go over with that, but they had so much interest. Plus, our commitments to get everything done and working with the Hall of Fame, we just couldn't get over there and get back again. We're fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with the members from the Hall of Fame that if I need to reach out and if we're up there and have some extra time, I think I can find my way back in again.
Beautiful. What's it like skiing there?
I can't tell you.
Can't tell you. You tell me, but then you have to kill me, that kind of thing.
It's actually really nice, and it's not what you would think. Everybody, the first time we were there was for the Warren Miller statue unveiling, and there's myself, one of our testers, and Justin Koski, who's the director of the Hall of Fame, were there. And what was really surprising, how really nice and accepting everybody was. And it was just everybody's so polite, holding the doors open. Hey, welcome. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you for what you do in the industry. That was really good. And the terrain, yes, the groomers are manicured. They're magnificent. But they do have some pretty aggressive terrain there. We were skiing with Scott Schmidt. And I mean, the chutes along the back, there's stuff that he doesn't ski anymore. So that's just a little bit up there.
That says something.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Tricia, anything from you? Any bucket list places for you?
Well, we talked earlier about we want to ski well, I have not been to the Yellowstone Club, so there's that.
Yeah.
But I would love to ski Alaska. I don't know if helicopter skiing is on my list, but I think it'd be great to get to Alaska to ski. And
the Kardashians hella skied. I mean, it's on everyone's list.
Yeah. Get back up to Alaska, and again, there's a new area that just opened up, coincidentally called Ski Talk, spelled a little bit different, SKETAWK.
Yeah,
the Native Alaskan version of it.
That's really?
Up at Hatcher Pass.
It's got to be your sister mountain, though, now, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. So it used to be just cat access ski in there. Now they are putting a ski area in there, which is really nice. So I'd like to get up there and hit there sometime. Love to get up to Revelstoke and hit the Powder Highway up that way. I hear that's just magnificent.
Yeah, I just someone just sent us something that there's a resort that's for sale now up in northern BC.
Maybe we can go in on it.
It's only 8 million. I mean, come on, we'll get some people. You got how many members you guys have? They all chip in a few bucks.
Yeah, I got to start buying those lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Tricia, Phil, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. So, skitalk.com.
Yep.
That's where everyone can go and become members and check out the reviews and learn a ton. All the socials, are you guys Ski Talk?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And YouTube channel, we're starting getting our views up this past year. We did almost 100 views this past year. We're looking to grow our YouTube channel. So check that out. Click that subscribe button and like button and everything you have to do on YouTube. And remember, skiing is fun.
Skiing is fun. Tricia, Phil, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brian. And
Thanks for having
Mario
us.
off in the
All right, our pleasure. Take
Bye.
care. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more information, we'll have links to all their information at skibumpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. We're on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Untapped at skibumpodcast. Send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. Go to Patreon, please. Patreon.com/skibumpodcast. Help us buy Powder King. You know, like maybe we could set up a special level where you get to have some sort of timeshare rights.
If you give us as a big investment, we'll hook you up. That's the ultimate Patreon right there.
Or if you got a guy who knows a guy, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. We could figure this out.
Let's
set up maybe a DAO. Yeah. We'll set up a DAO, decentralized. I forget what the AO stands for, but it's decentralized. A bunch of people
we're
come
going to
together.
have our own crypto in our own country.
We don't need our own crypto. We'll just be Bitcoin based. We don't need to build our own. That's when things get weird.
We got to do something with our names on, our faces on. We got to have a bill.
No,
like one bill.
I don't want that.
$1 bill or something.
We'll have like Chuck E. Cheese coins, pretty much.
We'll have to have that. Everybody has to use this special card with our branding and logo on it.
No, you got to do it like the cruise ship. You just have like the card that's tied to your account. So
perfect.
We have your credit card information. You just like swipe your card or whatever. The cookie costs $15. You don't know it. You're just swiping your card.
And you don't care because it seems free.
You're on vacation. You don't care.
Boom.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Stay hot, stay polluting.
See ya.